going to, for us to get this going quickly, because I know it's a Monday and it's a very hectic day, especially after the last weekend for folks to get going with different things they have to achieve or they have to do. I think other folks are still joining, which is good. So I'm going to start by asking Professor Keksemple, who is the principal investigator on the project, to just give an introductory remarks and just maybe a few comments about the pilot, and then we can progress towards the meeting of today. After Kek, then I'll call on Shegun to give an overview of why he thought to fund the second phase of the project was interesting or important. So over to you, Kek, please.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining. Apologies for being a little late. I've just come back from a 2-week trip to Southeast Asia, and yeah, as you can imagine, there's a lot of catching up to do. Anyway, it's good to be back home. So yeah, as I say, thank you for joining. This is a very exciting meeting, of course, because it signifies the initiation, I suppose, we could call it. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Inception meeting. Yeah, that's correct. Kirk, are you still on the call? Is it just me? Can anybody still hear him?
I guess it's network problem from his end.
Oh, I think so, because I thought I was the only one. Okay, so I can't actually hear him. Kirk, if you can hear me, we actually can't hear you, sir. Oh, I see. Okay, just send me a text. He's having problems with his internet connection. I think he's also traveling. Okay, that's fine. I'm sure he will join us later. I know there are a few things he wanted to say, especially as we begin the Inception meeting. So since Kek cannot continue, can I ask, please, Mr. Shegun Adetunde to say a few words, just a sense of what he's looking forward to for this second phase, and obviously some comments about. I think it's particularly important for the audience, especially the university coordinators, to know why the FCDO has agreed, or in some sense proceeded to funding us continuing for the second phase. Over to you, Mr. Shegun, please.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, for bringing me in on this. Good afternoon, everyone. Evening, depends on where you are. And welcome, yes, to this call. Really, this call is like what Prof. Kirk said. Really, it's like initiating the phase 2. We've concluded the phase 1, and we've gathered some evidence to show that this is actually a step in the right direction, and this phase 2 is now to strengthen or support the regulation around this, whereby working closely with NUC and the senior management across the pilot universities to get this new approach of delivering entrepreneurship training to be approved or recommended by the NUC across all Nigerian universities. And imagine if that's done, that means automatically the cohorts of PIs across the 14 pilot universities and the lecturers that were trained would be the critical mass to support and engage on that in terms of replicating this across board, which is a big opportunity for everyone that's on this call here today. So really, we excited about this. We looking at working together with this group and others to get this going, get this value to be accepted fully by both the government regulators and, of course, the school management, and see how this can be our way of contributing to addressing the challenge of unemployability of Nigerian graduates and automatically contributing to national economic growth. At the same time, tying this to the UK, who has provided the support, and of course get to see that stronger bilateral relationship with UK schools coming in and working with you, as we've been able to show with this proof of concept with Lancaster University. I will pause here and I would give the floor back to you, Akan, just to confirm if the NUC is being carried along on this. Over from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So yeah, you're very correct. So the NUC is being carried along with this. So I've already given an initial briefing to the NUC that we are progressing towards phase 2. So as we speak, they are waiting for the initial briefing documents as to how phase 1 went and what we'll be needing from them from phase 2. So I wanted this for us to have this meeting first, and then maybe get some ideas from the coordinators on the call as to what we could do. So the good thing about this call is this is not the first time. Actually, everybody on this call knows that phase 2 is beginning. And I've actually had personal conversations with every university coordinator in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, to kind of brief everybody very carefully and intentionally about how phase 1 went and also what phase 2 is trying to cover. So everybody on this call actually know about phase 2. So even though this is officially, if officially the inception meeting, so it's also on record, everybody has been briefed. I think in some sense there's been very good enthusiasm from all the 14 university partners and the 14 coordinators, and looking forward to what phase 2. I think also the fact that the way phase 2 has been structured, which I'll run through quickly again, just for sake of some reassurance or some clarity, in case anybody has any questions, what the focus of phase 2 is about and why that is the case. And I'm sure at some point I would piggyback with Shegun to get a bit sense as to why the FCDO, working with Lancaster University, has agreed to go in this direction for phase 2. But I think I see exciting times ahead. Each time I speak with the members of the coordinating group from this university, from universities, they tell me how, in some sense, they still getting remarks and getting feedback about the positivity of the phase 1. As you can imagine, we're just trying something that's never been done before. And so we're learning, literally learning on the go. I don't want to even start the kinds of changes we had to make and responding to time, especially for the kinds of numbers we're dealing with. And usually, and this is actually true, most of you can bear witness, usually when you're doing a project of this nature, you don't roll out two different programs for 2 target audiences concurrently. Now, if you ask me now, I don't know if that was a mistake, if we did it well. Obviously, there are learnings which we learned because of how that was structured. And that has been captured on that's the report. And I think as at now, every university coordinator have access to all the reports, including the summarized version in case the reports are very bulky. So everybody has been sent the report. So everybody's up to date with how things have progressed. And I think at the end of the report, we capture in clear terms the challenges we faced in doing phase 1 and also the opportunities that phase 1 has created. And I think in some sense for me is the capacity to dare to go to do something new, something innovative, and something transformational. So I think before I progress and proceed to what I would like in some sense to give an idea of what phase 2 would cover, I want to actually leave it open to the room for folks who want to make some comments or feedback from phase 1. And maybe in some sense, this, and by the way, be very, very open. They can be positive or negative feedbacks. And I think that will kind of guide us as to what we could do in phase 2. We will have more concrete conversations. This is basically an inception meeting. So we're going to have a bit more of this as we progress. So I think everybody would now receive, after this meeting, a document to kind of give a clear guidance as to what phase 2 would look like. the benefits of phase two, people's participation in, as a matter of fact, remuneration. I remember that I think I was speaking with Shegun about this. That for phase one, what especially the university coordinators did, where it was absolutely incredible. So we'll try as much as possible for the kinds of work we are hoping you will do in phase two. The leverage, and I'll speak about it shortly. The leverage for, if you like, remuneration, but also the benefits to both the at the individual level, but also at an institutional level, will be clearly spelled. So I think in some sense is to motivate folks to help and support if you do think indeed that the how phase one, the impact that you thought phase one brought to the table and the impact it's had in your university, across the country, that would be nice to know. So I want to leave it open to the room. If there are any comments, your feelings about phase two, are you happy, excited? Is it going to continue? What are people feeling? I think that would be nice to know. So I'll leave it open, please.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Professor Aisha.
Yes, thank you, Akanu. I think what I just want to say is that I want to say phase one was successful, very successful, because looking at the challenges, you see that the benefits outweigh the challenges. What was the complaint I received personally, and I know I've been meeting Viola, sometimes yourself, and you have done your maximum best to see that you have helped me to address those challenges. We're actually like some of my staff felt that it was so intense, like everything like came, and then and then at one time or the other, we used to have some of our local challenges, sometimes with network, and I'm sure I've told you how some of them, because of their commitment, they went to all lengths and all strengths, despite so many things. Sometimes people go out in the night looking for petrol to power their gen because they want to submit their assignments on time. So some of these challenges, I think, were able to be overcome. But of course, there's nothing without the challenge. So
right.
I just want to comment that I believe that the benefit outweighs the challenges, and there were lots of enthusiasm and some positive feedback, because I think one particularly got a grant.
Oh, wow.
From one of the assignments, one of the assignments through sets. I even encouraged her to go and put it on the platform, on the LinkedIn. Yes, I think I will continue to press on her because she said it was one of the assignments, and then one of the motivations from sets that made her to go, okay, go for small grants, then you go for big grants. So this grant was 4-point-something million. So it's a small grant. But then she was very happy that it was one of her assignments from SET that she just did and submitted for the grant. So these are some of the success stories from SET. And for some of the students, there's one that particularly told me that she was contacted to be one of the team members of one NGO because of what she mentioned that she has passion for in SET, and they made her to be a team member. In ICCP. So these are some of the pockets of successes and impacts of the project. I'll just appeal that maybe when we are doing the phase two, there's a little bit of consideration that the staff are having some of their own primary assignments. Some are staff on studies, and some are having some responsibilities in the university. And maybe the timing can be a bit good for them to be able to really enjoy it without feeling like suffocated or something like that. So that's just one of what I want to say. And I hope also that I know our university systems are trying now with having some solar installations here and there, and good internet services that they are trying to make sure that it's uninterrupted. So having these infrastructures in place will really go a long way in helping the delivery of this program. So that's just what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Aisha. I think that's this point you mentioned. I think it is the point myself and Viola have been I've gotten the feedback the highest I think when people were signing up for the program or they were getting appointed or nominated, they had no idea what was about to hit them. So obviously the disruption transformation was fantastic, but then it wasn't a usual program. So it's either you were in or you were out. And I think those who persisted and were in, even despite the challenges, saw incredible impact. And obviously we have data that we've measured to actually show that. So I think that's good to know. And you are very, very correct. That in itself was a massive lesson. So going forward, if we're going to do that program again, which I think we're going to do at some point in the phase 2, it will be a lot more stretched so people can take their time to make sure they respond to it. So thank you so much, Professor Aisha. Anybody else? Any feedbacks? Any comments?
Yes.
Yes, Professor Danny. Go on,
Yes.
madam.
I think I support all that Professor Aisha said, because it's like it's a general problem that everybody
Yeah.
was having. But I just want to say that in the phase 2, we need to get the university management more involved.
Okay.
Yes, they need to know. That is maybe meeting the vice chancellors together, or the DVC A and R together. I think we need more of their buy-in in the second phase of the
Okay.
program. Then,
Absolutely.
the other thing I noticed during the sets was that those who paid, those who paid, those who had a pair were able to do better and complete.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So what we did in Unilag was to make sure that I made sure that I pair you with somebody. I
Okay.
paired with somebody myself, so that you check in on each other.
Okay.
And we noticed that when they were sending to me their own reviews, I noticed that most of them that completely successfully did the program were those who paired. So
Okay.
maybe mentor is there, university coordinator is there, but find a, a pair that can work with you within your department or within your faculty, because that was what we tried to achieve. And I can say that that was very successful for us, because they were checking in on each other. Have you
Okay.
submitted? Have you done that? Have you done that? Uh, but again, I want you to bear in mind, the organizers to bear in mind, that lecturers are not just on sets. That
Mm.
are doing so many things, holding laboratories. So the time, I think you need to tweak it, because they were almost running crazy. Like
We don't want that.
Aisha mentioned, they were almost running crazy. At a point, they were just saying, I better go. That's this thing is really driving us crazy. But but because they were paired, they were they were helping each other, supporting each other like a scaffold, you know, helping each other when they want to fall. So I think that you should look into it. And again, at a point, you told us that I don't think whether it's you or Viola said, please go to your mentors. Oh, but the mentors were not there. That's why we now ended up pairing. The mentors were not responding. That is why you were being hit. Is Vayo, is Akan. So the mentors were not just there for us. I don't know about others. But in my university, University of Lagos, they complained about mentors. So that was how this pairing even came about, because the mentors were not responding to our questions. So we were like trying to think out of the box and try to solve it ourselves. So let me pause here so that another person can add.
That's very interesting, Professor Odeani, and I do appreciate that. And you're very, very correct. I think I think it's the real is the recurring information feedback we got. I think that was also captured in the report actually. And so there's definitely going to be a tweaking when it comes to the element in terms of delivering the program for that. I guess in some sense it was because we were working under a specific schedule and the timeline. And remember that that project was not just a traditional training program. It was, you might actually call it was a research program. Well, it's like how do you call it? Like active research or participatory research, where you were doing the program at the same time gathering data, because it was the only way we could assess the impact of the program. So I guess under under normal training conditions, with the understanding we got from the pilot, I think to be a bit more flexible, because I think the idea is the fact that because by design the program is delivered online anyway, so you can stretch it as much as possible. Not funded by the FCDO, but I know that we've even tried an experiment, and Anthony on the call will know this, and Keck will know this, where we're delivering the similar program, but it's now over a 4-month period. And you're very, very correct. We can see the impact. Now that has to, which is the reason why even this one is also an experiment that actually has two impact, or two ways you can view it. While there's a stretch flexibility, what we've also noticed is the fact that people get kind of carried away by not having that clear structure of responding as soon as they can. Because when they postpone, okay, don't worry, I've got 1 extra week or 2 weeks to do this, something comes up. And so actually, I think it's the question, I think it's the point around finding the best efficient max, the best efficient timing for the structure. But irrespective, allowing for flexibility, that's non-negotiable, and that's very clear from all the feedback we got. So I also like the element of peer learning or motivation, or having somebody you're responsible, accountable to, which obviously we took as a lesson on the pilot. Anybody else? I know Keck is here. Keck, do you want to go back to what you're trying to pass across?
I wanted to make a little comment.
Oh,
Hello,
yes,
I wanted
please,
to make a little comment.
Please, Otomina, go on, please.
Just a brief one, because I'm so enjoying the inputs so far, but I couldn't leave without mentioning that when I heard Prof talking about impact, it just filled my heart with joy, because we have about 3 projects that have received collaboration and potentially now receiving support out of the set people. You know,
wow.
One has to do with AI in genomics, another one AI. In fact, there were 3 strategic project proposals whose MOU is to be signed with the Vice Chancellor. So, and these are all graduates. So I felt completely elated at the impact. You know, just to quickly chip in that Aisha has inspired me to remember that aspect of it, you know, and then talk about the learnings that are taking place. So go on, I just wanted to make sure we don't lose sight of this.
That's really, really incredible. Interestingly, the very first phase, I won't call it phase, there's already phase 2. And so I will end up with this. If there are any comments, let me know. If not, let me go back to Keck to say his opening words. Then I can go right away to the structure of phase 2, then we can wrap it up. Because I think we're going to have more concrete conversations. And as a matter of fact, it's on my schedule to visit every university. I think Keck will be available as well when he can be available. And then, so this goes back to what Professor Denny was saying. For phase 2, we actually cannot fulfill phase 2 without a higher university senior management alignment or engagement. So I'll speak about that. So you're very, very correct. That is, in fact, that is the foundation of phase 2. Phase 1 was a pilot to test that the program makes sense. Now we know it makes sense. So what do we do? So that is the fulcrum with which phase 2 would run. So I'm coming to that. So Keck, can I come back to you, sir? If you could just give us the introductory remarks you're going to make before I go straight to the structure of phase 2, then we can wrap up if anybody has questions.
Well, thanks, Hakan, and to everyone, I do apologise. I seem to have lost complete internet connectivity, so I'm actually on my phone at the moment. But yeah, I think my introduction is redundant, really, because we're into the meeting and, you know, discussions are ongoing. All I would say is that I personally am really very, very excited about the phase 2 of this project, because the journey has been a long one, and, you know, well over 5 years now. And to get to this point, we're actually starting to engage significantly with a number, you know, 14 Nigerian universities, and, you know, many academics and students is absolutely fantastic. I think the overwhelming importance of this meeting, though, has come through with the comments from several of the profs around the structural elements of the project. The pressures on academics' time and researchers' time is very important. I think the support network that needs to be in place to allow people to engage with this second phase is absolutely critical as well. So this meeting has been really insightful, and it will allow Akan, myself, Dr. Viola, Anthony, others to go away and actually plan this a bit more carefully, trying to address all of the constraints that have been identified to make sure that, you know, academic and research colleagues can actually engage with this in a way that actually allows them to do so with the limited time that they have available to them for this project. So I think, Akan, that's all I really wanted to say. I'm going to hand back to you now. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Prof. Much appreciated. And you're very, very correct. So I think we would make the mistake we made in phase 1. What I mean by that is we designed the project and just engage with partners to deliver it. So for this one, it's going to be co-developed, because we realized that if we had done maybe better work, and I'm very open to accept that the fact that if we had done better work in engaging partners, maybe a bit more in the co-development of the structuring of phase 1, we might have found things a bit easier. So that mistake we won't make it in phase 2. So why I'm saying so is because I'll be reaching out to folks on this call and those who know. As a matter of fact, while you were just speaking, I've actually had at least 3 WhatsApp messages from university partners who were trying to connect, but for some reason they can't connect. So I've just encouraged them that I do apologize, but that it's been recorded and that to be shared on the coordinators group. Anyway, my point is the fact that we're going to do a better work at co-creating what the structure of phase 2 is going to look like. So this is an inception meeting, but then the next thing would be a series of individual meetings, because as a matter of fact, it will be both at in university level, but then together at an institutional level. But before I do that, can I just ask Dr. Vala to just say a few words in terms of, my goodness, I think she did an incredible job. I think we all know that. I think as to what she's looking forward to for this phase 2. Just very few words. Dr. Vala, please. Or at least to thank everybody for for how phase 1 went. Dr. Vala, you still on call? Can folks still hear me?
Yes, you're clear. You're very clear.
Yeah. So maybe she can't hear me. Okay. Anyway, let me proceed very quickly. Let me quickly paint a picture of. Okay, I think she's off the call. Maybe it must be internet. Let me quickly paint a quick picture of what phase 2 looks like. And the good thing is, I think I've actually briefed all of you individually, so you would know. But just for the purpose of let it being official, this is what phase 2 looks like. For phase 2, the very first is actually in 4 levels. For phase 2, it's in 4 levels. Level 1 is a bit more monitoring of a targeted group, what you might call delayed evaluation. So after 4 months, after 6 months, what has happened? So the kind of amazing stories I'm hearing from Professor Odani, Professor Aisha, Dr. Amina, people are winning grants, people are excited, people are still using LinkedIn. it would be nice to capture that. That actually, not only have they been impacted during the program, 4 months down the line, 6 months down the line, that impact is still growing. That's a good story to tell because it means that the project obviously has changed people's mindset, which is what the point is supposed to be. Remember that the program is titled Stimulating Sustainable. Sustainable. It has to be maintained. Entrepreneurial thinking. So it can't be sustainable if everything went to a standstill after the program. The true evidence of the sustainability of the program, but also of the impact, is that people are still behaving differently and better, more efficiently, more effectively, many months after the program. So that will be tested in this phase 2. So that's the first level. And then aligning that first level is something that would interest everybody. So, which I've had a good chat with Professor Kexemple and obviously the founders. It's the fact that we generated a lot of data in phase 1, and we are hoping to partner with universities in how to convert these papers to communicate this data, either by publications of papers or articles or journals, whatever you want to call it. So the entire structure or framework, the entire engagement about publishing these papers, having co-authorship, all of that is actually a level in this phase 2. Okay, I think that actually would excite partners. So I know for a fact that one of the first things we've said is the fact that co-authors, all coordinators, university coordinators will be co-authors in publishing these papers. I guess the point is now deciding or structuring in what paper would you be a co-author and how, just to ensure there is equity, there's effectiveness, there is fairness. You get the point, across the board. So all of that is a conversation we're going to have with you as you progress towards the structuring and framing of phase 2. That's level 1. Level 2 is now what Professor Udene was speaking about. Is the fact that we've done phase 1 and the pilot, and we've seen the impact. But then it would be interesting, or even better, more exciting, if we can make it institutional. And so I've already had conversations with several of the coordinators, I think even with a few of the vice chancellors, and they're already excited about the potential of making or developing a new policy, an entrepreneurship policy, both for staff and students of universities. So all that conversation, that discussion, having meetings with the senior management of your universities to discuss how would that look like? What does that look like? How can you institutionalize entrepreneurial thinking for academics and also for students? In what form would that take? All of that conversation forms level 2 of phase 2, which is the reason why I will be visiting the different universities to have meetings with the vice chancellors, senior management, and obviously in partnership with you. That's level 2. So because it means that if we are able to make that happen at that institutional level, level 2 now gives back to level 3, which now becomes the NUC engagement. Because I believe in my heart that if 14 vice chancellors came together in a forum and said, we really like this, okay, let's now do a proposal to the NUC to say, how can we at the NUC level institutionalize or have an addendum to the current entrepreneurship policy, or whatever form that would take. But to make that engagement at the NUC level, that becomes level 3. Okay, and the good thing is, from the beginning of the project, even during the pilot, NUC was fully engaged throughout the process. They've been observers, and I've been having meetings with them continuously. So I can't see that being a problem. But I'm sure you remember that there's now a new ES. So even currently, even the engagement of the new ES is a separate piece entirely, which obviously at the moment, myself and Professor Kexemple and the key partners are having conversations on how to make that happen. So that becomes level 3. So level 1 is extended monitoring of the impact and also publishing or communication of the data gathered. That's level 1. Level 2 now becomes institutional engagement for the 14 universities at that level. And a good way that we can measure that is a new policy, an adjusted policy, a new mandate, whatever form it takes, but just shows that there's an engagement at the university level, management level for the 14 universities. That becomes level 2. Level 3 is now engagement with the NUC. And then even if as simple as NUC hosting a new meeting of every university vice chancellor, however form it takes, that is the nitty-gritty. That's level 3. The final level is we've been able to provide some funding to make it easy for coordinators to actually deliver the program to their universities. Okay, and so the numbers of students and numbers of staff, those kind of conversations becomes level 4. So the program that was delivered in phase 1 will be delivered also in phase 2 on a minimal level with more flexibility, without the need to measure data, because all that happened in phase 1. But the difference would be that we're going to help and get and hopefully engage participants who benefited from phase 1 to help as coaches and mentors, whatever the case is, to actually deliver these programs to your universities. Okay, so I'm looking forward to how that would look like. That is the 4th level for phase 2. I don't know if that is pretty straightforward and clear. Don't worry, the specific details will be clarified as it progresses. But on a very high level, that's the structuring of what phase 2 looks like. Any questions, any comments? Because I'm conscious of time, so we can wrap this up. Then I will give you guys some roadmap of what that would look like for the next 9 months to 1 year. Any comments, any question? Is there excitement in the room? Does that sound nice? What are you guys thinking, please? Anthony, I can see your love note. That seems to me like it sounds nice. Any other comments or feedback?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go on.
My name is Okechukwu Chukwemeka from Coal City University in Enugu.
Yes,
thank you so much. I want to thank you, Professor Kiksempu, Wella, and of course the sponsors of the program for what happened in the pilot. You know, as we are speaking, you talked about the mistakes we made in the first phase, and I don't think there are mistakes. After there were that was a pilot phase, so
that's true.
What we are finding out now is what we expected to find out in a pilot. So those were not design mistakes at all. Okay. They have helped us to know that this part is okay, that part is not okay, and all that. And that's exactly what we want to now do, what should be in this phase. I am excited at the partnership with the universities, and I believe this coming to see the vice chancellors, this is very, very, very important, so that they will, apart from the reports that we are giving them individually, they will also see how important the program is to enlist their universities, staff and students in this coming phase. And then I think as we progress, you talked about the papers, articles, and whatever that are coming up. We should be able to know where we fit in and what parts we should play. But you can count me in. Thank you so much, Dr. Akan, for all you do.
That's really good to know. Thank you, Dr. Okechukwu, much appreciated. And you were a phenomenal coordinator, just like all of you were in the phase 1. And I'm looking forward to. So sorry, Dr. Mina. I'm looking forward to working with you guys for phase 2. Okay, you can go now, madam. Sorry, go on. Yes, go on. Go on, please.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
I wanted to ask you from the lessons of one of the things we need to do is to make sure we clear up understanding.
Oh, Dr. Mina, you are breaking up really bad. Your voice is a bit muffled.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, that's better now. Please proceed.
Just so clearing up all those
It's not still good, Doc. Sorry, it's really bad. We can't hear you. The voice is very bad. Could you maybe leave a text or a text in the chat section, if that's possible? Because we can. I'm struggling. I don't know about others, but I can't hear you at all. Yes. Any other comments, please, on the structure of phase 2, what it looks like? I guess in some sense, the phase 2, you can imagine, is more intentional to focus on policy and institutional alignment and change or engagement. Okay. Okay, that's good. So I think I've seen what you sent, Dr. Mina. So she says, clear up all outstanding reporting MOU meetings documentation so we can start clean note. Okay, understood. That sounds good. So yeah, so I think I've discussed this with Professor Keksempo. So even part of the engagement with your universities, it actually includes the partnership and MOU alignment, or at least the engagement with Lancaster University as a strategic partner on the back of the project. Remember, this is part of what we discussed at the beginning of the project, because that I think would be an exciting collaborative framework, which I think would be nice for us to share with the vice chancellors as you begin in phase 2. So all that, what you said, Dr. Bina, becomes part of what phase 2 looks like, because we see ourselves as working together just beyond the funding from FCDO just for this project, and there is a framework for which that can happen, which I will share with everybody individually as we progress on phase 2. So MOU development, documentations, meetings. I think as at this morning, I got the feedback from Anthony, which is part of the team, that everybody who had filled the questionnaires to receive certificates for the program have all received certification. I think I've already seen several posts on LinkedIn with excitement in the room. So that was a good way to wrap that up. And so at least there's nothing being owed in some sense from phase 1. So yeah. Any comments? Any comments or feedback? So we can wrap it up, and then I would follow up with everybody in terms of how to progress. Yes, Dr. Viola, I'd called you earlier to make a few comments or maybe notes of gratitude from everybody in terms of how phase 1 went. And then, oh yes, Dr. Mina. So did you fill the form, the link that was sent in the group? Dr. Mina, did you fill that link? Because if you did and you haven't received it yet, that's interesting. So yeah, don't worry, I'll follow up on it, because I know that Anthony told me that everybody's received certification, so their certificate. So don't worry, I'll follow up on that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll post the link again for a fresh, just like a reminder. I know the deadline we put at past, but just in case you missed it or whatever the case is, so you can still fill the link. So we can issue certificates this week. So that chapter is closed before we start phase 2. So Tony, can you please note that, please, to put up a message so we can share it to everybody again. So for those who missed it,
I will do that.
Thank you very much. That's
some of the emails I tried, but I got failure feedback. So I think I'll have to reconsider all the. I revisit all the emails instead.
Okay, that's fine. So in case maybe people's emails bounce, that's why we ask for their WhatsApp numbers. I think that's actually a good entry point. So you text them on their WhatsApp and saying your email bounced, so maybe they could correct it, because that can happen. Where people make a spelling mistake.
So I've tested a couple of them whose email bounce. I tested a couple of them, and they gave me the right emails.
Okay, because we don't want to owe anybody certificates after the completion. That's good. Thanks for the work, Anthony. Are there any comments, sir? So maybe at this point I can call Keck. If there are no comments, please, we can communicate openly, ladies and gentlemen, on the coordinators group. We already have a WhatsApp group anyway. It's the same WhatsApp group we're going to use. So I would post the recording of this Inception meeting on the WhatsApp group for continuation. Feel free to pop in any question in that group as we develop phase 2, and there will be a response right away to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on Keck, like final closing words. I don't know. First of all, Shego, do you have any closing remarks before I call on Keck, so we can wrap up the meeting? I'm conscious of time.
And not much from me. I
Okay,
just want to say thank you to everybody for the phase 1 and look forward to greater success in phase 2.
Fabulous. That's absolutely fantastic. So I will be reaching out to everybody individually so we can start booking timelines for traveling, for visits to your individual universities in the next 5 to 6 weeks. So I have to visit every university, and I also speak with my boss, Professor Example, on what that looks like or feels like. So obviously we need to get that going quickly. And so I can say officially that this is the beginning of phase 2 with this meeting officially. I'll call on the principal investigator, Professor Example. What do you have to say to get this going?
Well, not really much from me to say, really. I think Akan, you've covered that, as has Shagan as well. It's very exciting. It's fantastic that we've got this opportunity to enter into phase 2, to continue the great work with colleagues in the universities, and how we can then engage with the NUC as well, which is critical to the long-term sustainability and success of what we're trying to do. As Akan has already said, we'll be in touch very soon in the coming weeks to identify timelines for travel, for meetings, etc. I think that's going to be absolutely critical. So anyway, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining today's meeting. So as I say, it's very exciting, and I look forward to working with you and the team going forward. So many thanks, everyone, and we'll be in touch very soon. Thank you. Back to you, Akan.
Thank you very much, everybody, and do have a lovely, lovely weekend. So what weekend? My goodness, I must be tired. A lovely beginning of the week and an amazing rest of the week. And I'll speak to everybody soon. God bless. Bye-bye.